At the time of this recording, I'm 41 years old, and if I could go back in time and talk to my 20-year-old self and give him some advice on how to manifest more powerfully and more quickly, here's what I would say. Manifestation is not about making something appear out of thin air. It's about tuning into the version of you that already has what you want. You know, in 2020, we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment and could barely pay the bills. And then all of a sudden, COVID hits. As a full-time tennis coach at the time, I thought I was screwed. There was nowhere to coach on. How are we going to make money? What are we going to do? But then it dawned on me, we have the power to manifest whatever we need. In fact, I was teaching this stuff at the time. Because everything is energy and everything is frequency. And the reality that I wanted already existed. I just had to tune into it. So my wife and I meditated every single day and saw ourselves living in this house with this tennis court that you see right here. And all of a sudden we had a court to coach on. A few months later, I got a call from a friend who bumped into a lady that I coached over 10 years ago now on that very court. We got to talking and the rest is history. We now live in the house. Understand this one thing. Your brain does not know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. If you can live in the feeling and the thought of having already received what you want, you'll be broadcasting an electromagnetic signature that extends beyond your body, that resonates with people, circumstances, and things that'll bring that experience to you. The second thing I would say is that your beliefs dictate everything that happens in your life. You know, a few years before we got this house, my beliefs were we'd probably never be rich. I was a musician and a tennis coach at the time. Money was hard to come by and we were gonna have to get lucky. Then one day in about 2017, I have a very good friend who's very successful. We'd go out for coffee all the time. He's kind of a mentor to me. He's, 80 years old now. And he started asking me all these questions. He's like, Ramon, what's your full name? What's your permanent address? And I'm like, is this guy planning to kill me or what's going on? And he says, no, I'm going to leave you a couple $100,000 in my will, and I want to make sure that we can get it to you. And in that moment, I had been studying this stuff, but in that moment, I realized that I was shifting my energy towards abundance. If you have any area in your life that's not working the way that you want it, you can be sure that you have subconscious beliefs that are not allowing you to let the good in. And by shifting those beliefs, you can begin to experience the thoughts and emotions of the person that you prefer to be and broadcast a brand new frequency into the field and start to attract what you need. And this is why I created the subconscious reset that you can download after this video. The third thing I'd say is change isn't hard, it's automatic. You know, a few months ago, I was mowing the lawn out here and I was listening to Bashar, and he was talking about the nature of reality. And what he said was, it's like film on a film strip. You know, like back in the 20s, they used to have film that would go through the projector and it would shine a light through all these individual little pictures, these static pictures. Well, your reality is exactly like that. Okay, each moment is here and now. There's only now, which means there are billions of nows every single second that each contain a completely different picture, a completely different you. And the only thing that gives us this illusion of continuity is the fact that it's moving so quickly. But the truth is, each one of the nows has a completely different you in it. I mean, if you look at it from neuroplasticity, your brain is reorganizing itself billions of times a second. You have trillions of cells in your body that are dying off and replicating and changing. You have genes that are switching on and off all the time. So you're literally not the same person that you were a half a second ago. And the only thing that keeps you stuck is the belief that you're the same old person. If you understood that you are a completely different person every single moment, then you can change into the person that you want to be now and begin to attract the circumstances that that version of you has now. So if you start acting like that person, if you start thinking and feeling like that person and walking and talking as that person, you will become that person and you will attract what that person would naturally attract. Okay, the fourth thing I'd say is that attachment is the death of your manifestations. You know, I was a shy, awkward teenager, not a recipe for a lot of dates as a boy. All I wanted in college was to finally have a girlfriend. So I started studying all of these pickup artists and reading all these crazy books and going to seminars. And I eventually attracted a girlfriend. But I had these inner beliefs that I wasn't worthy of love. And I was attached to this girl that I was dating because she was like the most amazing thing ever. Well, she could sense that attachment. She could sense that neediness. And then all of a sudden, she broke up with me. It turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened. That's another story for another day. But the idea is the best possible scenario you can imagine is the least amazing way that the universe can bring you what you want. And by staying attached to one specific outcome, you block the energetic flow that would allow all of these infinite ways for it to come to you, which would be way more exciting. So let go of your specific outcome that you have in your mind that is the only way for it to come to you, and trust the universe. It'll always bring you what you need in a way cooler way. The fifth thing is fear is usually excitement channeled through a negative belief system. You know, before I started my first YouTube channel, I had all of these fears. I was like, oh, what if people think I don't know what the heck I'm talking about? What if people think I'm dumb? What if people make all these negative comments? I was thinking, who am I to be teaching this stuff? And now making these videos is literally one of the things that I'm the most passionate about, because I shifted my belief system to I'm not good enough and what if these people think I'm stupid, to if there's one person out there that's going to benefit from this message, then I owe it to myself and to that person to make the video. If you find yourself scared of doing something, ask yourself this one question. What would I have to believe is true about myself in order to experience this emotion right now? Understand that beliefs are not the truth. They're just opinions, and beliefs can be changed. You may realize that your biggest fears are actually masking your biggest passions. And that brings us to number 6, which is act on your passions. You know, right after this house, I had the opportunity to attend a week-long spiritual retreat that costs $3,000. And I was not in a position to spend this $3,000. I mean, we had this whole new responsibility on our hands. But then I realized this stuff actually got me into the house, so I might as well do it. At that event, I met so many amazing people. I connected to a whole new level of myself. And before the end of the event, I had made my money back. Now, to quote Bashar, when you act on your highest passion and you do it as well as you can with no insistence on the outcome, you tune your vibrational frequency to the frequency of passion and excitement, and you attract more things to be passionate and excited about, and the universe will always bring you what you need to express the highest version of yourself. The 7th thing I would say is to write out your perfect average day. You know, in 2017, I had just started my online tennis channel, and I met this marketing guru named Frank Kern, who had this exercise that he would have all of his students do called My Perfect Average Day. And Frank was a little bit of a rebel. He would say, you know, you can't always go to Vegas and buy a bunch of crazy stuff, but you can have your perfect average day that you could live that would be like, if you had to live one day over and over again, this is what it would be. And what he said was to write out in detail exactly how that day goes. So I did this. I had about 9 pages that went everything from what I was thinking and feeling in the morning when I woke up, the feeling of the carpet underneath my floor, underneath my feet, you know, the smell of the coffee, the dew glistening on the grass, even walking out to the tennis court to coach my lesson. And I will tell you that everything in that first document came true, except for the fact that I don't have 6-pack abs yet, but that's, you know, down the road. And I've since created a new document of my new perfect average day. When you do this exercise, if you record it in your own voice, you record it in the present tense, and you listen to it in the morning and at night, you'll be training your subconscious mind to that vibration, and you'll begin to attract it. The 8th thing I would say is that circumstances are neutral, and you're the one that gets to decide what things mean to you. Going back to the grad school story, I was heartbroken. I had just broken up with my girlfriend, couldn't play the violin because of my tendinitis, and I was in a deep, dark place. But then I realized that it was only my left arm that was in trouble. I could still practice my right arm, my bow arm. And so I decided I was just going to practice my right hand. And I would hold the violin and I would just play. And in that summer, my sound developed more than it had probably in years, because I changed the meaning from I can't play violin to now I can get really good at creating a beautiful sound. So circumstances are neutral. And when you look for the positive in any given moment, you stay in a positive state and you begin to attract more things that are positive.